correct? And case is very much like if then else, okay, or if else that we have in Python or any other programming language. Okay. Makes sense? And like if you remember this example, okay, just like if else in Python, it checks for the first condition. And if first condition is true, it will perform this and come to end. If first condition is false, that's when it will go to the second condition. If this is also false, then only it will go to the third condition, right? And if this third condition is true, it will come back to end. And if you want to, this is alias. If you want, okay, the column header to be something customized, you can do that. Okay. Shall I delete this? Okay. So today our focus will be on how to work with dates. Okay. How to work with dates and what are different date function and things like that. So if you do select here, let's say select star, we have to say use employees, employees, and when you run it, okay, and now you select star from employees. Okay, so you got this. So here we have DOB and DOJ, right? Okay. So what I'll do is, for now, I'll select F name, comma, DOB, comma, DOJ from employees. Okay. So you get only these dates. Now, how do you work with dates? For example, if I need to know current time, right? I can simply say select now. Okay. Now see here, this is a inbuilt function that I'm calling. So I don't have to say from. Now here, see, I told you, right? Databases, all databases are slightly different. Okay. The 1% change will be there in all the databases. So in MySQL, you don't have to say from. You don't have to say from. Okay. Simply say select now. Okay. Now, if I had to run same thing, so this is the current time. Okay. Year, month, date, hours, minutes, and seconds. Okay, so you got up to seconds. In Oracle, okay, you cannot have a select statement without from. So you have to have from. Okay, so what they do generally is you have to say from. Now, if I say from employees, how many rows are there in employees? 31, 32 rows, right? It will print this time for all 32. So see, 32 rows. Since we said from employees, okay, for every row it is printing, okay, the time, okay, because I can say select now F name, right? Select F name now. So you'll have F name and now for all the data, okay? That's why, we cannot use F name when you are doing aggregate function. But now if you are doing, okay, this goes with the, it can go easily with the name, right? So that's why it's giving you 32 rows here. Okay. But we don't have to use from here. So in Oracle, they have something called as dual table. It's a dummy table, dual table, which will have just one row and one column, nothing else. Okay. So we can also create our own dual table. okay, which will have just one row and one. So if you have to run such functions, you can use dual table. Okay, but in MySQL we don't have to. Okay, we can simply say select now, select now, and that's it. You will get current date and time, current date and time. Okay, which is basically your system date and time. Okay, okay, it will pick from your system. Okay, it doesn't go and look into anything else, just your system. So if you are in India, but your computer still has, let's say, US time, you will see US time only. Okay. If you want to convert into date, that means I want only date. Okay, so you say select date of now. Okay, this should give you only the date part. Okay, or you can also use what we call as select current date. Okay, okay, okay. So you can also get current date using current date. Okay. Hmm. So by default, I told you the date format. Okay. Default date format in MySQL is YYYY correct? This is what you're getting, YYMM. Now let's say you want to change it to some other format. Okay, you want to change into other format. You can change the output. I want to change into, let's say, generally in India we write DD hyphen MM hyphen YYYY, correct? So if you want to change it to this format, you will say select, okay, date format. You have to use this date format function. So I'm going to format the date format. Okay. And here you mention, okay, so which format? Okay, so which date you want to change? I want to change the current date. To which format? Okay. So in quotation, you mention the date. So I want it to be percentage D hyphen, right? I want hyphen. So hyphen, if you want slash, you can put slash. Okay. Whatever you want, you can put that there. Okay. Slash, so slash, if you want colon, so colon, you can put colon. Okay. So whatever you will put, same character will appear. Okay. Okay. So percentage D. Okay. Then I'll say percentage M. And then I will say percentage Y, capital Y. And when you run it, let's see. Okay, you got date hyphen month hyphen year. Okay, so formula came as the column header. That's where you can say as date. Okay, so you get date here. Okay, you want to do the date difference. You want to see the, difference when people join the company, right? So what I can do here, you can say, okay, comma, date difference. Okay, you see this last function, date difference. Date difference, you give two date. So DOJ, comma, DOB. Okay. So see, this is the date difference. They joined company after, 7,476 days after being born. Okay. You want to add a date. Okay, let's say if you want to add date. Now you can do calculation, right? I can do, like, if I do 365, then I will know how many years, right? You can do all the mathematical calculation here. So 20 years, okay, 48, 20.48 years. That's the age when they joined the company, right? So you can do all the mathematical operations here. So once you get this number, this entire thing is like a integer, right? Now you can use it, you can play with integer here. Now, similarly, you can add a date, okay? You can also add a date, okay? So how do you add a date? Um, let's say, okay, let's take current date only. So you have interval, okay? In interval, you can mention whether it is days you want to add, or week, or month, or year, okay? You can choose what you want to add to this, okay? So let's say I have select, okay, and I take current date, okay, and I'll call it as today's date, okay, comma. I want to add now date. Why it's not coming? Add, okay, date add, I think. This error is there, no? That's why it is not showing. So what I'll do, I'll put it here. Here there should not be any error. No, here also there is error because semicolon is not here. Yeah. Now I'll say date underscore, okay. Still not coming. Okay. Add. Okay. So add, it came, right? Add what? Add current date. So I'll say cur date, comma, okay, interval. 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 Okay. Interval 1 day. Okay. So date add, current date, interval 1 day. That means I want to add 1 day to the current date. Okay. So what will I get? Which date will I get? Fourth. Yes, we'll get 4th. Okay. So you can say as tomorrow. Then you can keep on adding. Date add. Okay. Now date add. Again, I'll take current date, interval 1. Okay. Current date, interval 1, and I'll say week. Okay. So this is going to be as next week. Again, I'll say, okay, date add, interval 1, month, let's say, as next month. Okay. Interval 1, year, as next year. Okay. Let's run it. It should work. So see, today's date is 3rd. Tomorrow it is 4th. Next week it is 10th, right? 3 plus 7, 10th date. 3rd August is 3rd September. Then next year is going to be 3rd August 2024. Okay. So this is again in my default, your MySQL format, right? You can change it to your format. You can use date format and change it into your format. Make sense? You can also do same thing you can do using date subtract also. Date diff will give you in difference, right? Date subtract will do subtract. So I can say date sub. Okay. And so this would be yesterday, right? If you subtract, it's going to be yesterday's date. So yesterday, and this will be last week, last month, last year. Make sense?
Yes.
And if you want, you can run it and see the output. Yeah. Second, last week was 27th July. Last month would be July 3rd. Last year would be 2022, 3rd August. So you can do date add, date subtract. You can extract only date from a year, only month or only year from a date. Okay, so how do we do that? So we have function like day function, month function, quarter function, year function. Okay, so here I can say select day of, let's say current date. Okay, so this will give you day as. Okay, let me copy this from here till here. Okay, so day, then you want month, so you can say month of. Month of as say month. Okay, now you want to say quarter. Quarter of as quarter. You want to extract year, so you say year of as year. You see, day is 3rd, month is 8th, 3rd quarter of the year, and your year is 2023. So you can extract this. You can extract weekday, week of the year as well. Okay, so comma, weekday. What weekday is? Okay, so I'll say weekday. Then you want to extract, let's say week. Okay, so week. You want to extract week of year. Week of year. Okay, so weekday 3rd. Week is, this is 31st week. Okay, 31st week of the year. Okay, and week of year 31st. Make sense? Okay, so this is how you can play with dates. Now, we also have subqueries. Okay. You also have subqueries. What is subquery? Okay. Query inside a query is called subquery. Okay. So generally, subqueries will slow down your speed. Okay. So with efficiency. Okay. So that's why we try to avoid subqueries. We try to it's like running two queries. Subquery is like running two queries. So it's already, it's going to give slow down, right? But we try, we try to avoid, but not always you can avoid, isn't it? So this is where, okay, it is helpful to, sometimes it becomes easy to use subqueries, okay? So for example, I want to select star from employees Put semicolon and this error will go away. Put semicolon, the error should go away. Okay. So select star from employees where salary greater than. Okay. Now, instead of giving a number, let's say you have another query. Okay. You have another query. Okay. So, okay. So instead of directly, saying number, you want that number to come from another query, right? So you can say here, bracket open, select salary from employees, okay, where EID, right? We call it EID or EMPID. I think it is EMPID. EMPID, where EMPID, okay. So we want to find out, okay, people who are earning more than, let's say, Deepak Kumar, right? More than Deepak Kumar. So I'll say employee ID equal to 104. Now your employee ID 104 will give you 152721, right? So question is, find out, okay, all the employees who's earning more than Deepak Kumar, right? So you are getting Deepak Kumar's salary from here. This will give you Deepak Kumar's salary, right? And then you are putting that in this equation. Now this is not the efficient. This is really not the this is not the use. I mean, okay, and we'll run this and then I'll show you how this specific query can be done without subqueries. Okay. So first let's understand this query. Okay, so see, every salary is more than Deepak, right? 152, right? 158, 160, 187, right? So this is what is called as a subquery. You have a query and inside that you have a subquery, right? This is subquery. So subquery is giving us some answer. Based on that, we are, main query is running. Now, the same thing, okay, you can do it something like this, right? Directly you can say select star from employees, okay, or select star from employees. Can we do it without subquery? Okay, so select star from employees where okay, I'm not able to get it. Okay. But I think we should be able to do that, right? I don't know. Okay. But yes, this is one case where it is easier, right? Even if we are able to do it, it could be a little complex. Okay. So, but this is easier to do using subqueries. So subquery is returning you a salary. So you have a condition, okay, where you're talking about EMP ID equal to 4. So because we don't know the salary of Deepak. So first you have to get the salary of this guy, 104. And then you are saying salary should be greater than this value. Okay. So this is an example of subquery. Okay. Easy. Okay. Now you see your you can write stored procedures. Okay. What are stored procedures? Stored procedures are like functions, the way we write functions in Python. Okay. And like SQL queries are one-line queries, isn't it? But your procedures can have multiple lines. Okay, you can write a full query. So for example, let me write a function here or stored procedure here. So see this right now, stored procedures are empty. Okay. So what is different between functions and stored procedures? So you have functions as well as stored procedures. Okay. We'll talk about views as well. See, functions are stored procedures which returns a value. So in Python, we have discussed about functions which returns a value which does not return a value, right? Returns a value is when you say return in the function. So if you write a function with return, it is called as functions in database. And when you do not write return, you are just calling, you don't have return, right? Then we call it as stored procedures. Okay. So let's put this query. Okay, let's put this query as a stored procedure. Okay. So how will we do? So we'll say first create procedure. Create procedure and you write the procedure name. So I'll say get emp info. Okay. So create procedure, get emp info, bracket open and close. To indicate that it's a stored procedure. Then you say begin. Okay. You'll put begin. And your logic will be between begin and end. Your logic will be between begin and end. Okay. So in, with between this, you can write multiple commands. Okay. So let's say I put this. Okay. So, okay, I put this. Now when I run it, will it run? There's some extra thing that you'll have to do. Okay. 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 There's some extra thing that we have to do. Okay. What is that? Okay. For example, here, okay. So you have to use something called as delimiter. Delimiter. Okay. Delimiter $. And okay, you have to say that you are using delimiter semicolon here. So this delimiter will come here at the end. And then you are saying that the comments are separated by semicolon. Okay. Now when you run it, create procedure, get info, and here I'm saying begin and okay, for second, let me put salary here. Okay, and you have begin and end. This should work. I don't know. Okay, maybe this is not turning blue, right? Yeah, it is capital. Okay. Yeah. Okay, it's capital delimiter. Okay. Now when you run it, yeah, you see green tick. Now you go to stored procedure and you say refresh all. You can see get emp info. So we have created a function. Okay. So we have created a function. Okay. Now just like function, if you run it, it's not going to, okay. It's not, so see, it's saying that procedure already exists, right? So you cannot write it again and again. You have to drop the procedure. If you want to, let's say there's a mistake and you want to correct it. Okay. So you can drop and recreate again. Okay. Now, just by calling, creation, this is creating, right? So, creating is not calling the values. We have to call it. So I have to say call get EMP. Okay, let me do this. Call this. Now when you run it, you see, is calling. Now if I put star here, so again, I cannot change it, right? So what I have to do, I have to drop it now, right? I have to drop it. So how do I drop it? Okay. Okay, let me go here and directly I'll show you drop stored procedure. Okay, so drop now, gone. Okay, so it is dropped. Okay, drop procedure employees dot get info. Okay, now here you don't have bracket. Yeah, my mistake. That was it. You don't give bracket here, okay, when you are dropping the procedure. And now I have changed it, so let me create it again. Successfully run. Now you call the stored procedure. Okay, so you are able to call it. So what's the advantage of using stored procedure? What do you think is the advantage of stored procedure?
You don't have to do it again and again.
You don't have to write the query again and again,
Yeah.
right? So, if you have some complex query and you expect that this query will be called multiple times, okay, that query will be called multiple times. Instead of writing that query, okay, you don't have to you don't have to rewrite. Okay, that's point one. Point two, okay, you can write multiple statements. Okay, SQL allows you to write only one line query. Okay, it can be complex, of course, but you can have multiple lines and it has features. Okay, features just like we have in we have in Python or any programming language for that matter, C, C++, Java, any programming language. Okay, what features? You can handle errors. Okay, exception handling. What is exception handling?
Taking care of errors that might occur in the code.
Error in the code?
Like, yeah.
It's not error in the code. Okay, it is like
Error during runtime.
runtime error.
Yeah,
Okay,
error.
Sir, I think it is a mechanism to handle runtime errors.
runtime errors. Yes. Okay, you have while loop here, you have repeat loop. Okay, okay, so you can use all these. So the advantage is that you can write a full set of programs and then you can call it. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We will see how. Okay. Okay, so this is your stored procedure. Okay. Now views, right? We also need to talk about views. What are views? Views is a subset of table. Okay. Now the data will be stored in table only. Okay, data will be stored in table only, but you do not want everybody to have complete access. Now, for example, if you see, okay, now if you see, these are all your columns, right? Now, I don't want you to have access to salary column, let's say. So what I'll do, I will say select EMPID, F name, let's say L name, DOB, email, phone, DOG. I don't want you to have access to salary and bonus. So I'll say DEPTID. Okay, select this from employees, right? So this is the query I want you to have access. But problem is, when you say select star, then you will be able to see all these columns, isn't it? So instead of doing that, what I'll say, I'll create a view called, I'll say create view, okay, EMP data. Create view EMP data as what? This query. Okay, create EMP data as this query. Now when I run it, okay, blue tick, you can go and see in the view. So there is a view called EMP data. Now what happens? Okay, once you create the view, now for those who do not want, I mean, you do not want them to have access to the, you know, bonus and salary, do not tell them there's a table called employees. Tell them that there's a table called EMP data. So this will act and behave completely like a, like a table. Okay, so you will not find any difference between, okay, EMP. You will not find any difference between table and a view. Only thing is, view is, data will be in table format only. Okay, data will be in table only, not table format, in the table only. View is fetching, every time you call a view, it fetches from the table and displays to you. But as a user, okay, for me, if I do not know that the table called employees, I'll feel this is the table and this has all the employees information. So this is how you can perform restriction, right? Now, employee, if you look at, you'll have all the information. But let's say if you want to give access to somebody and you want to hide some column or you want to hide some rows as well, right? You can write the complete query there. So whatever you give access to, the person will only have those access. Okay. So this is how you end up creating a view. So view is subset of a table, okay, which acts and behaves exactly like a table. Okay. So as a user, user may not know that, oh, this is based on, okay, this is based on employees table. Once you create, you give them, they will only play with this. Make sense? So this is how your views work. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Hmm. So yeah, with that, anything else? No? We complete our, okay, as well for, okay. So you have string functions, functions using which you can handle string. So you have functions like LTrim. What is LTrim? Left side trim. You want to remove left side values. So similarly, you have RTrim, remove right side values. You have replace. You want to replace existing text with something else. Okay. Substring, if you want to get, string, substring from a main string. Okay, indexing basically, right? You have find, length, concat. Okay, concat is another important one. Okay, concat is where you want to, let's say email ID is not there. Okay, email ID is not there, and you want to create an email ID. How do we create an email ID? Email ID we say first name dot last name at the rate company name, company what do you call company website. Okay, website domain name. So you can create like this. So I can say here select, okay, concat. Okay, so concat what? F name, comma, okay, space. No, not space, dot, right? Why am I giving space? Dot, comma, lname, comma, @ wnbco.co, right? Select concat fname from employees. Now when you run it, okay, now you see this has performed this. Okay, but sadly your first name has gap, so that gap will come, which is really not nice, but this is how you can use the concatenate. Yeah, you want to find substring, okay, string out of the main string, indexing, basically what we do indexing in Python. Okay, so I'll say select, okay, substring, select substring, and which string you want to perform substring. I'll say fname, comma, from which position you want, right? Okay, which position? I want text from third position. So you say comma 3 from employees. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll put fname also so that we can compare what it has done. So this is the first name. And you see, when I say 3, it is starting from third position. So what happened? H space is gone. Third position is M. So it started with M. Okay. AN is gone, starting from I, third position. AM is gone, starting from third position. So this is how you can perform substring. Okay. You can also say it, okay. So this also has backward indexing, just like Python. Okay. Python, we had backward indexing. Okay. They also have backward indexing. So let me do it in the same line. Okay. -5. Let me do minus or -3 only. Okay. Some names are very small, right? Okay. So what happened? -3 means starting with my third last position. So third last, second last, and last position. So you got last 3 characters from the string. Okay. This is how you can perform substring. Okay. So these are your built-in string functions.